There is so much hype surrounding the real estate agent's lead generation tactics. The honest truth is many businesses, multi-million dollar businesses, have been found just providing real estate agents leads. And the honest truth is, if you're paying for leads and you're doing this, if you are not taking that lead to a conversation, to a closing, you need to change your perspective. And we've all heard from the beginning that sphere of influence is the best way to build business. I'm being told that some of those, brokerages that were founded on, these lead systems and these websites that are providing leads are now telling their agents, well, now you have to, provide your own leads through your sphere of influence. So here's the deal. If you have any questions about that, we can dive in 100%. But I just wanted to touch on this one concept that I've been thinking about lately. And the honest truth is, this is how I built my business, and I'm so excited to share it with you. The good news is I have a new mini course out that's absolutely free. If you check the link in the comments, you can go into it. It goes into all things, how I built my sphere, and just a couple little tools to help you get started on refocusing your business. So without further ado, let's dive in today. As you guys may know, I'm Jeremy Kane with the Real Estate Agent Playbook. Just recently this month, we have launched our new podcast. So we're both on YouTube and podcasts. Please like, comment, subscribe over on YouTube. And if you're listening on the podcast, drop us a review and leave us any comments in those reviews. And we'll definitely look into ways to expand our content that's coming to you and help you win at the game of real estate. So I'm going to go out there and tell you right now, SOI, or sphere of influence, is your business. It is not a pillar to your business. And all of these other shiny new, websites or shiny new ways, or even the traditional ways, the door knocking, the open houses, and all of that, those are all individual pillars in which you can use to build your business. But the honest truth is, the sphere of influence at the top of those pillars is where we want to drive people. And it's how we interact with those people once we're in their sphere, once we have their contact information, that really takes us to the next level. And so I'm going to dive into all things sphere of influence on this channel, on this podcast. But today we're just kind of focusing on this one concept, because I've been told over and over and over again that sphere of influence is a pillar or sphere of influence is not a pillar. I don't have a sphere of influence, or I have a great sphere of influence. I just don't know how to connect with it. So that is my goal, is to be the real estate agent that's helping those other agents understand what my process was, because I've been fairly successful at it, and also learn things from everybody else and new ideas and how to manage that sphere of influence and what the client journey looks like inside that sphere of influence in order to take our businesses to the next level. And so as I talked about all of those leads and all of those things, those are great. And I know a bunch of real estate agents who are really good at the marketing side and creating leads. Sometimes those leads don't create contracts and don't create closings. And as far as I'm concerned, as a real estate agent, that's where we all get paid. And so my focus is to help you understand within this episode to get from that sphere of influence piece into how are we going to convert these leads from day one into a conversation, into our sphere, nurture them however long or however we need to, and make them closings. And then at some point on the podcast in a future episode, I will talk about how I'm taking those closings and turning those into lifelong relationships. The truth is, it starts at the very first conversation, but we'll leave that one for the end. So there's a lot of talk about these silos or pillars that support your business. And the truth is that a pillar supports usually a roof of some sort in the construction world when we really break it down, or a home. Some talk about pillars, on homes that are on stilts and all that stuff. But the bottom line is the pillars support your business. And again, I'm going to tell you that your pillars, no matter what they are, that's where the creative piece and what I love about this business is you can have different pillars, some, things that are in your creative and your ideas that support that. But the bottom line is we want to drive everybody into our sphere. And that's really where the nurture comes to take it to the next level and turn these people within our sphere into closings and clients. And that's where the business gets fun, right? It's always hard. It's been hard. I've closed one internet lead in my entire existence, and I've closed a few homes, 400 homes probably over the last 9 years. And in that time frame, I have had one paid internet lead close. And the truth is that they probably weren't my favorite client. So I like serving people within my sphere, and that's where I develop my business. So that's what I'm coming to you today to kind of take these leads. And I've had leads come from all different areas, different referrals, whatever, but I put them in my sphere of influence, and that's where they become the client. That's where they really buy into what I'm putting down, because I manage their client journey and I'm constantly updating this as we go. And I think that transition from pillar to conversation to sphere of influence is where the ball gets dropped. We go back to those, TikTok videos or consistency on YouTube, and we just expect that these leads, even if we have had a conversation, will continue to see us on these social media platforms and engage. And the truth is, the very piece of social media that's hard is that you click on something, you kind of go down the rabbit hole, your energy levels are high, your temperature is high for, buying a house or selling a house or whatever it may be, and then it kind of fades. So what's that person going to do the next time their energy level or their temperature gets hot about, buying or selling a home? They're going to go back to that source. And if you're consistent, you might get that next click. But if not, they might go with something else, or they might be driving down the road and turn and see a new build and all of a sudden be under contract, not thinking about, the person that they followed on TikTok for 3 months and had a conversation with 3 months ago. So that's where the ball gets dropped a ton on these leads. And it's not to say they're bad. It's not to say anyone's doing it wrong. But if we can get them into our sphere of influence and be consistent with our sphere of influence, that's where it really will change your business. So with that said, we've been hearing a lot of people talk about, the social media with the Twitter changeover to Elon's ownership and all of that. I've heard a lot of big time 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs talk about, where are you sending your people? Where are you sending your sphere? Where are you interacting with them? And a lot of them, obviously, it's very common to say social media, and that's great. But I'm here to tell you my social media was deleted, and that piece of real estate that I was renting, because I didn't have any control over it, was taken from me overnight. And so a lot of people, I don't know if it's just circumstance or what, I've heard say, you need to send them to an email list. You need to, own something, and you own that email list, and you can send people content and all of that through there. Now, that's not the only place I would do it, but I would say that you have to have some ownership, just like in a home, of the place and the space that you conduct your business. Because if you just are using Twitter and Elon Musk comes along and buys Twitter and you don't support him, or you get blacklisted or whatever happens with the social media these days, or the algorithm, then where's your business? And you don't have any control over that. You don't have any control of what happens. So owning that email list. And while they're in the sphere, it's really important to start connecting with them on multiple layers. Get their phone number, text message, phone calls, all of these things, email, phone calls, events, physical address if you can get it, birthday cards, all of that stuff. And that's for a different day. But that is where they're in your sphere and they're kind of interacting, and you're just continuing to bounce, energy around, and you're getting more information, and you're doing what you have to do within that sphere of influence. And if you really think back to business, right, in the 80s and 90s, what were the big business people talking about? The big insurance salesmen, whatever, they would talk about their Rolodex. And that was the landing place where people would go. It's, a collection of your sphere of influence with the contact information that you needed. And so now it's just a modern day Rolodex, right? And that's the point, is really getting more and more and more, right? Because you could always write, okay, well, I have their phone number and their name, so they're going in the Rolodex. And now we're going to get their address. We can write it down. Now we have phone books on our phones. If you're a phone guy and you're texting, or gal, and you're texting or calling, and that's kind of your thing, make sure you get their phone number. Add an email address in there. That's just another passive kind of sphere of influence touch that isn't direct communication, but it's important communication. So we're just constantly trying to fill out that database and get all of those contacts. And if you are struggling with CRM, as most agents do, check out this video right here. I have a CRM, now what? Just kind of talking about how to organize that, because regardless of what we do here with the sphere of influence and all of that, you need a place to manage everything, because our brains cannot operate. So you can, hopefully you're growing your sphere every single day. You throw them in there, you talk about where you met them, and have those points of contact for reference while you're, making these direct connections and these passive connections to kind of find that client ideal avatar and all of that. And so once they're in that CRM, then we can really hone in on strategically expanding our contact with them, the more that they see your stuff, the more that they travel through the client journey, the less people that fall off. The more people that you can say, okay, this is where they're at. Okay, maybe you met them 2 years ago and they were, living in their mom's basement, getting ready to save up for rent. But if you're constantly seeing them and you are categorizing them and you can reach, that's where the magic really happens. So we don't have time to go into all of that today and all the strategies. We definitely will. But if we can just get the idea that the sphere of influence is so important, and if you're an introvert or not from the town that you're serving, if we can get rid of that excuses, I don't have a sphere, because the truth is, if you don't have a sphere, you don't have a business. So that's where we're getting at here. We want to drive things to our CRM, make sure that you have one that you can use, that you're comfortable with, and then we'll continue to make the changes in order to manage our sphere of influence, not as a pillar, but as a landing spot to just constantly be top of mind for all of these people. And just always keep in mind that sometimes you come across somebody and they're not ready. Maybe it's not a good idea for them to buy a house, no matter what situation they're in. But if you're constantly doing that, they will eventually come across somebody that will be ready to buy a house. And if they have that knowledge and they have that memory of you sending them real estate related stuff, they built that trust, they're going to refer you. I've had so many people that are in my database not be clients. So don't get stuck in that, if they're not a client, they don't go in my CRM. Everybody that you contact and you have information for should be in that one spot. Doesn't cost too much to add them to it. I don't think any CRMs are charging by the contact these days. So that's something to just consider and realize the power of this, because you never know when that person is going to either be ready to buy or sell or come across somebody that can. And if you're consistently staying top of mind, treating them, just like all the other people that come across and sell and buy houses, you will absolutely reap the benefits of that in an exponential form when your business grows. And if this is your first time listening or watching on YouTube, don't worry, we will be honing in on more of the tactics to really focusing on that sphere of influence and making it a true piece to your success in business and making it your business. So as always, please like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. If you would be so kind listening to the podcast, check out that 5-star review, and I would be happy to discuss anything with you. You can always reach out to me. All the contact information's in the show notes in the comments. And check out this video I did with an agent in my group, Alexis Papadakis Greenberg, about her journey through not even understanding what a SOI is. So that'll be a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Jeremy Kane, Real Estate Agent Playbook. Have a good one.